All right. Sorry about that, everybody. God, I promise one day it's going to figure out. Welcome again to Trials Halftime. I already got my guests in here. If it is your first time joining us, there are sometimes minor difficulties that'll happen. Again, everyone else, thank you again for being here. Your first time. This show I started about 3 weeks ago, and I wanted to give everybody a little bit of help and or a conversation at the midway point of Trials to kind of talk about what is going on and things that are kind of either happening in the world of PvP or even in Trials itself. We've had a crazy week thus far. We've had a map change. That's something we're going to talk about. And we're also going to talk about the new TWAB that came out last week, and if the nerf to Stasis Shatter Dive had any changes at all. Personally, I'm kind of liking it. It's exactly where I think it needs to be, and it still has the same lethality. And without any further ado, let me bring in two guests. Ironically, these two guests are related in real life. The first one you might recognize. He's been on the show first before on the very first episode. His name is Frickin' Sweet. Frickin' Sweet, say what's up to everybody.
What's up, guys? Good to see y'all again. Glad to have Wolverine hosting the, I won't say our last name, but me and my brother here, the Frickins. Papa Punny used to be a Frickin' way back in the day.
So another guest, like I said, he is related, and this is a very special guest. This is a guest I wanted on the very first episode, and his brother was very strong and brave enough to step in the ring and step in his place. But this individual, he's been someone I've kind of enamored and been very much just taken by because of how good he is and how nice of a person he is, really. This is the type of person that you're going to want the help by, and the person that you're going to want to follow on Twitch because they know they're very good at giving you guys exactly what you want, your opportunity to go flawless. So without further ado, let me introduce you guys to Papa Punny.
Hey, what's up, guys? Papa Punny here. As Wolverine said, this is my older brother. He's 4 years older than me. And we basically started out playing video games together on the original Xbox Halo 1. And it's pretty much continued ever since. We played Destiny 1 together. We started Trials together when it came out. And we've been playing together ever since.
I'm kind of jealous actually that y'all can actually play together. I have multiple siblings and none of us had any of the same interest in gaming. One of us are interested in wrestling gaming, the other one's fighting, other one's racing. So to find that commonality and something you guys can get along with and actually compete well with each other, because I've played a few cards with both of y'all as my fire team, and it's something to behold to see two brothers just get in there and be able to do what you guys do. So I'm going to go ahead and not even beat around the bush right here. I want to start off with Papa. Papa, you're brand new to the show, but you're definitely not brand new to the Crucible. This gentleman has well over 256 flawlesses. As I said earlier, he streams on Twitch. He does carries. He does raffles. He helps out the community. And I think this is a very, very big thing and something positive to say about the Destiny community, because I know sometimes it's always not so great, especially in the realm of PvP. This individual is someone that gives back and pays it forward more so than any other streamer that I've seen thus far. I'm sure there's plenty of others out there, but from what I've seen, dude, you've been a great individual. So real quick, Pop, give me a little bit of backstory into Destiny. Where did you start? Did you start in Destiny 1? Did you carry over into Destiny 2? Or are you fresh into Destiny 2 from when it first started? What is your PvP background go like? And are you very competitive? Go ahead, take the floor.
Well, one, I will start off and say I'm ultra competitive. I like to win, and I mean, that's just in my nature, but I also understand that, there has to be a loser, and that's not always the worst thing, because sometimes that's when you learn the most. Now, moving on to my Destiny background, like I said, we started in Destiny 1 back at the very beginning, you know, Vault of Glass, raids, the whole nine, running people through that. I remember us doing 10, 15, 20 Vault of Glass raids per week just because everybody wanted to be in our raid team. So we would just keep on running it through and get our groups in that were part of our clan. And I didn't really like Crucible when in Destiny when I first started. I wasn't a fan of PvP. I really liked the PvE setting and the raids, but as time went on, and especially when Trials got released, there is nothing more competitive than testing your grit and trying to get, you know, back in Destiny 1, it was the 9 wins with the boons. There was nothing like trying to get that accomplished, and we struggled for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks before we got our first flawless. And it was me, freaking Sweet, and freaking Chaos, our other friend. He was actually the best of the three of us, and we just kept on grinding. And I'm thankful he had the patience with us because he was much better than we were, and you know, he was definitely key to us getting to where we're at today.
I love that you guys shared the same monikers and name with you guys using frickin'. Coming from Wolverine, I guess you guys can tell I'm a big comic fan, clearly. And I had a set of friends. We played Call of Duty Modern Warfare way back in 2007, Call of Duty 4, and we all had superhero names: Wolverine, Spider-Man, Iron Man. It made up the lot of us. So I can relate to that a lot, and the competitiveness too, and the struggle it takes to get to the top and actually be successful. Because, man, from you telling me that story, I couldn't imagine it was you, dude. Because prior to this last expansion drop, when you were playing pretty much religiously, you just got back, and we'll get into that in a little bit, but prior to that, man, I saw you get in there, and I'm at awe at some things. I took a lot playing cards with you and the other individual who was supposed to be on the show. That's kind of why we had this little brief start. His name's Rhino. Follow him on Twitch as well. He was supposed to come on. He had a little difficulty with the camera, but it's all good. We'll get him on one day as well. But watching him, Rhino, and watching you, Pop, man, I picked up on a lot just from how you guys played. And we're actually going to go into that as well when we break down in terms of what we're seeing on this map. Let's bring in your brother real quick. Sweet, thanks for coming back on again. It's great to have you back. We're not going to have to go into the Destiny history that you got, but give me a little bit of how you're feeling since the last time we talked and what has changed in terms of your Crucible output. And have you met anybody from the stream?
Well, from doing the halftime report, we have had at least 10 people pop in the stream, and they have been quick to drop the follow, and they've also... I think about 6 of the 10-ish have dropped a sub in chat, actually, and I appreciate that support that they give, as always. And from the last time we talked, what about that Hunter nerf? But it's not just a Hunter nerf, it's a Titan Crystal nerf as well. Warlocks, I mean, they could do the Glacier, but they're not smashing crystals. They don't have that ability. So I really like that I'm not getting consistently just smashed on from around corners and like just some bull crap, you know, like just smash 14 meters away, bam, 3-person kill right there. That's nice. I think they're functioning as intended now, the Glacier grenades. If you freeze somebody and you shatter those, they're dead. And I think that's how it should be.
Let's not waste any time then. Let's just jump right into it. Since you've been a little bit more around since Beyond Lights dropped, Sweet, do you think this patch was enough? Do you think they have to do more? I know they've talked about a midterm goal about Behemoth. Pop, we'll get in a little bit of how you feel about Behemoth, because that has completely changed from the Thunder Crash days, from what we were used to, like no less than like 3 months ago, give or take. But sweet, go over it real quick with me. Do you think it's enough? Do they need to do more, or is it good right where it is?
So I think they've got to one, elemental capacitor on guns. That's one thing that only works on light-based supers. If they're going to leave it as just those three and light-based, I think that they should have the Stasis implementation. And I have heard rumors that is in the works for a perk on the gun, for depending on which super that you run. I know Poison's going to be coming out in the future, but right now, whatever's new, typically in Destiny, is broken at first. And they're tweaking it, they're fine-tuning. I think that they have gone a lot of the way. I know the Titan Super, I don't necessarily think it needs to last less long. I think that when you use the abilities, it needs to use a little bit more up. And I think that would be in balance with the other supers that you see. But we've seen several sweaty teams this week, actually all non-stasis. And I mean, that's refreshing to see in the Crucible.
A lot
again.
of warlocks.
Lots of storm trances, tons of chaos reaches. I don't know where that came from.
Yeah, it's the geomags, and that is a force to be reckoned with how quickly you can reaccumulate your super.
It is, but I think they're getting close. I don't think there's too much more that needs to be kind of tweaked. Maybe warlock freezes lasting, I'm gonna say 0.2 seconds longer. Not even that much. I think down from 4 to like whatever it is, 1.3. Is that about right?
Give or take.
I think it needs a tiny bit more, and then they'll be balanced, and then you can play the stasis of your choice for the most part.
Yeah. All right. Well, Pop, I want to ask you the same question, but before I ask you, I just want to give everyone a little bit of insight, because I said in the beginning that you took a little bit of hiatus, but that hiatus was actually for a bigger cause, and I need to commend you and applaud you for it, and I think it needs to be recognized as well. On Papa Punny's shirt, he's obviously got the Superman logo, and in the middle it says ER, because what he does, and when he's not being the guardian that he is in Destiny, he's saving real lives, and he's involved in the front lines of the nursing and the medical field. So, Pop, I think that deserves great recognition, and the time that you took off, I don't think anyone could shame you for not playing the game, because you were doing something in a much better state. But before I get into it, how are you feeling since coming back?
I mean, speaking of stasis, I kind of feel like I was in cryostasis. I feel like I stepped out of a cryo tube like Halo 1, like I was talking about earlier. And, you know, it's been 500 years, because my Thunder Crash just isn't the same anymore with this new super in the game. But that being said, I definitely feel that stasis is just still like way too powerful, in my opinion. I just think that there's an unfair element of the game when you give one subclass the ability to and I know that it's for each class, Warlock, Titan, Hunter, but give that one subclass the ability to freeze people in place where they can't fight back. That's something that we've never had to deal with, and it's definitely something that I've had to get used to, as far as just not getting upset about that. It is really upsetting when you've got the skill to beat someone, but you just can't do it because you're busy trying to hold B to break out while they finish killing you.
Now, you got a little... Go ahead,
to
please.
be able to break out.
Go ahead, say that again.
Well, we need a button map specifically for that in our custom menu, where we can press that button that we want to press to break out. I don't think it should be whatever your class ability is.
Yeah, and I know as a hunter I can change that from either the sticks or B, but I'm not going to go ahead and change. Preferably, I want to smash that button, the B button, to break out of the ice, but I'm not going to go ahead and change my entire style play just for a freezing mechanism, especially when I'm doing it more often than I try than on someone else. Papa, since last week, and seeing how devastating, because I'll be honest, as much as I abuse the shatter dive and the fissures, I dare call it an exploit at this point because you were practically mapping Guardians with it. But after experiencing last weekend and experiencing this weekend, do you see a change, and do you think more has to come for that particular nerf?
I do see a change from last week. I definitely notice a lot less getting killed from way far away, like things that just don't even seem remotely realistic as far as being able to get killed by it. So I definitely feel like they went in the right direction. And honestly, I feel like the Titan Behemoth feels more overpowered than the Hunter now at this point, with them having kind of nerfed that shatter dive.
I probably can get behind that. I find the lethality in the shatter dive still. Actually, if you are subscribed and following this channel, or if you're not, go check out a video I made earlier in the week on Tuesday. Actually, it was on my birthday, but I changed the outlook of what I wanted to do with the channel. I wanted to actually give my insight, especially when I'm putting so much time into something. But I made a video in terms of what Shatter Dive is doing at a lethal distance, and what I did find while doing some testing and added it in that video, the lethal blow that you're going to get onto Guardians is within a 5-meter radius of the wall. Anything after that, you'll see diminishing returns at a great scale. So personally, I'm still finding the positive in all that, and I can still find a way. I don't want to say to abuse it, but I make it a part of my arsenal. I make sure that I am a power wielding Guardian, that I'm not just my guns. And because prior to this, you guys played with me, and I was a top tree Void. As that super, some people don't like the current super that is in the Revenant with Silence and Squall. Personally, coming from my opinion and only using Tether at one point, I think this super is hands down probably the best the Hunter has right now, just because of what you're able to do even after getting killed with it. But that's a whole other conversation, that they need to upgrade the light supers so that they can compete with these Stasis, because right now they said that they were going to fix the lethality of these grenades against light supers, and you're still able to one-shot light super Guardians with that grenade. Do you feel that is going to be a problem long term for a lot of people that don't like the trend that Destiny's taking, or Bungie in particular, with power abilities being a part of a Guardian's arsenal in terms of killing and not just necessarily subduing?
I think that they're trying to move back to some gun skill type stuff, but I mean, they kind of let the cat out of the bag. At this point, it's already been released. It's out there, where they have to tweak it and adjust the abilities, line the abilities up with each other. Then they have to make it to where, how are you going to play your abilities? And I mean, even now, I wait for, I just today actually started using the Dusk Field. I was still using the Glacial Wall, and I do still like that nade quite a bit, but I wait for my grenade before I start a push. You want to try to pull somebody that's 3-peeking out. I think that's part of why they implemented Stasis to begin with, is to kind of get all the people complaining about 3-peeking to shut up. Mm-hmm. But you've got something you can do about it now, and I do think you should have to play off of abilities. I don't think abilities only should be able to win you a 1v3, and we've seen that.
Yes,
that happen several times. People playing their abilities well. And I'm going to tell you what, Titan is broken. Titan is great. I made the swap before everybody else was making the swap because I found the line rampants, and I love the Jotun. But the Hunter, I have seen the sweatiest plays with that shatter dive. Not necessarily shattering crystals, just the movement with them, being able to just boop boop. They're up in the air and then bam, they're down. They get extra resilience in that. I think the resilience needs toned down just a hair while they're doing that. So
do you think the damage mitigation that they dropped from 50 to 25 there needs to be more of it?
I do think a little bit more because I mean, I
know people that agree with you. I know people that agree with you.
This map, I hit him with the Bastion. That deletes supers. If I hit every shot square on a behemoth, the behemoth dies, and I didn't kill the Hunter while he was shatter diving, and I'm like, what? Like, I had to do a double take because I couldn't believe he was still alive, and I see people live through. I think I saw 4 120 hand cannon shots from a Hunter spamming that slam down ability while he was fighting. That being said, I do think that's a high skill curve. The majority of the player base, you're not going to see moving like that and being that sweaty in there. That's mainly like the top echelon of players, probably mainly in the 0.1%.
Yeah. Pop, I basically the same question. Do you feel that Bungie, in terms of their approach, what they want to do with Guardians and maybe even 3-on-3 combat or the grander scale, they're kind of giving us the ability to get our kills with those skills?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like they want it to be a game that's not all about guns, and Bungie does a lot of things that a lot of the community doesn't necessarily agree with, but we do need to stop and just take a minute and show appreciation or gratitude for how well they balanced guns in this update. I know the entire Destiny time, the whole time I've been playing, I've never seen an update that was this balanced, because literally every single weapon type is valid for that type of player. But yes, I do see it as something where it just feels like it's getting more and more heavily weighted on abilities, and that's why I kind of say Stasis to me still feels like it needs a nerf, because I'm in these Trials games now, and I feel like I'm playing Mayhem Rumble. Like, it's crazy. So I don't know. There's glass flying everywhere. I'm getting exploded from places I don't even see people. It's something else to come back to.
It's definitely something we have to keep in the back of our minds, especially when we go into a new expansion like Witch Queen, because the rumors are we're going to get another subclass, and that could have the same approach where they have a skill or ability that's overused or used in place of weapons in some circumstances. Personally, I'm enjoying this new take. It's something different. I always felt that the game was heavily weighed on special ammo and the economy of it within the game. I don't necessarily think it was all bad, but at the same time, if you were maxed out on your heavy ammo or excuse me, on your special ammo, you could basically rule the board right there. Let's go into one more topic right before we break down this week's map, and honestly, the topic has to do with the map in particular, because this wasn't the map yesterday. Exodus Blue was not the map that we were playing yesterday. Fragment was the map we were playing yesterday, and like Radiant Cliff, Fragment suffered from basically the same problem, but you could argue exponentially worse. There's positions on the map that people were able to utilize with the wall grenade, that they were able to jump to the highest parts of the map. I swear you could probably start a strike with how high these people were getting within the Infinite Forest. The vaulted stuff that was on Mercury is right up where people were jumping off in Fragment. Pop, do you think that's a problem that we're, as a community, we're going to find bugs and we're going to find ways to break the game, quote unquote, but these are PvP maps. These shouldn't be at a position where people could get out of bounds very easily, or something that could spread like wildfire. We know these are maps that are probably based on 4v4 game type because of what the game was when Destiny 2 first launched. We've come a very long way from 4v4. We didn't get any new maps with Beyond Light. Is the focus on not being at the PvP level, especially on maps, going to be a problem long term for them?
Yeah, I mean, if they continue their current pace with how, I just feel that they neglect PvP largely on many updates, and just their actions. You've always heard the saying, actions speak louder than words. So you can sit there and say stuff all day long in these TWABs, but when you fix immortal sword glitch, or like an invincible sword glitch in 35 minutes, and then it takes 3 weeks to figure out how to put barriers on a PvP map, it's very disproportionate how long it takes them to fix stuff in PvP that's really broken compared to stuff that's going to mess with their PvE content.
Absolutely. Sweet. Same question. We I don't know if you got your flawless done on Fragment yesterday. I was able to sneak one in last night, right in the I'd say the witching hour at 3 a.m. my time. I was able to push one out. Do you think this issue where they're giving us boards, and I can argue Radiant Cliffs and Fragment, I don't think should even be in the pool because of the nature of them. Those are 6-on-6 control-based boards. Should we be playing those to begin with? And the second question, is it going to be a bigger issue in the future if quality assurance isn't applied to these maps, and these guys that are testing at Bungie don't catch these things early on? Is it going to be an issue for us?
I hated to see Fragment go, man. It's a map that we've never played in Trials, and that's why I hated to see it go. It's nice to have some freshness in the map that we are playing, and believe it or not, I played till reset, or from reset all the way until reset, when they took the map Fragment down. And we did those long streams on Friday, and would you believe it if I told you I only saw 2 teams that had somebody go up in that broken spot? 2 out of the entire, I think we kind of did the math, and it was around 16 cards worth of stuff, and that's a lot of teams to play and not see more people. It disappoints me. I think the big time streamers that are using and exploiting these spots are kind of idolizing that type of play on these maps, and it's kind of made it cancerous lately, because I've heard that there's one here on Exodus Blue, and I never saw that before. Even though there were spots available, I never saw that before the Radiant Cliffs, where it was just people figured out, hey, I can go up top and I'm not even in his field of view. I'm going to shoot him and he's not even looking at me, and I can get a kill right there. And sadly, the people exploiting that, they're the ones that most Guardians take their example after. A lot of people follow big time streamers, and then they follow, like you said, the trends that's going on at the time. I think if the bigger name streamers step up and play with class and kind of don't move and gravitate in that direction, I don't think it'll be as big of a long-term problem as we've been having these past couple weeks. I actually don't think that Fragment was a problem. Like I said, 2 teams. That's it out of all of them on Fragment. And I was having fun with my Jotun, man. And then we come back with Exodus Blue. This is some people's most hated map.
Yeah.
I actually really liked it, but the problem with it is a lot of people don't, and then that takes population down, and then you're only playing that top tier like we're talking about, and the pool just goes down and down and then keeps shrinking.
It's definitely not one of my favorite maps. I know it's probably reverberated in the community that Exodus Blue, especially when it came out last season, everyone dreaded it. Everyone talked about it. Everyone basically was limping by the time Tuesday came around for reset because Exodus Blue was that horrible. And it didn't matter Go ahead.
That's all. Exodus Poo.
Yeah, Exodus Poo. It's not a well-taken map, and when the community manager yesterday had that tweet and he subtly put in what map it was going to be, I already kind of rolled my eyes. Fortunately, I did get one in today, so I was able to do one on Fragment and on Exodus Blue. Papa, how do you feel? I don't know. Do you think the population kind of took a drift because Exile Curse being the reward this week? By the way, Exile Curse is the Adept gun being offered this weekend. The Adept Stability is the mod being offered. So, do you think that has something to do with it? Exile's Curse never really was a big gun, even prior to the whole Adept being implemented. Do you think people don't like Exodus Blue? Papa, what's your opinion on why the numbers are a little bit lower considerably compared to last weekend? We thought last weekend was going to be the lowest.
Yeah, I mean, it's a combination of factors. I feel, when you combine a bad map with bad rewards, and it's not fun to even play because there's only these super sweats out, it just equals a bad time. And there's not many people that are just going to sit there and play when they're not having fun, they're not getting anything good out of it, and they don't even like the map that they're playing.
Exactly.
I feel like this has been an issue ever since Trials came back out, is skill creep. And if there's any people out there that don't know what skill creep is, it's basically, say I'm here on a level and then you're down here. Well, when you go against me, you're going to feel greatly outmatched and you're not going to have fun playing that. But say the people right here, when you two play each other, that's a fair game. It feels fun and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as I keep playing these really high people, which started happening very shortly after Trials came back out, then these people start falling off. And then now that this is the lowest people, and these people that used to could beat some teams, now they're getting stomped by everybody. And then those people drop out. And it just keeps going until there's only really, really good teams left.
Yeah.
And, I know for Sweet and I, we're trying to help people.
Exactly.
Get flawless or get...
They're over on Twitch, everybody, to let you know. They are helping people to jump in there because their community is great. They're great people, and, they just want to help. But go on.
But, we're trying to help people, and when it's basically 2-on-3, but we're fighting these ultra-skilled teams that are running stacked because they can't carry people because the skill level is so great in the arena right now. It's just making it harder and harder to do what we try to do and make the game fun for as many people as we can.
100%. But before we move on, first of all, thank you everyone for being here tonight. If you're watching elsewhere, come in Saturday nights when we're here live, 8 o'clock Eastern to roughly around 10 o'clock. We also, right here on Trials Halftime, we break down the map, we tell you the rewards, we tell you the statistics, we tell you exactly what's going on in PvP that week, and what more particularly what's going on in the tournament. Crucible Coliseum's a show here. We're part of the SNTR network. Lono's got a show Monday through Friday where he's got a wide loads of Destiny topics that he goes over. So if you're just a big fan of Destiny and you're here right now, check out his channel Monday through Friday. SNTR Presents is his live channel. So I wanted to point out something because we are on Xbox this evening, and because we will be just about to jump into this map. Do you guys feel, now that we are pretty much all on the new hardware, how do you guys feel? And someone brought it up in chat. Santana Saramo, he talked about what our feelings are on the matchmaking only for people on Series X. Personally, I'll begin and I'll say it's appropriate. Playing 3 individuals on Series X, you're gonna get worked if you don't have the technology and you're running at 30 frames compared to 3 people on 120 frames. Sweet, real quickly, I don't know. Do you have the new hardware, and do you feel that the matchmaking is at a good place considering you won't be matched to 3 individuals all on Series X's?
I felt like it's been tolerable, actually. I think it's actually moved a lot of people kind of into a different bracket, and a lot of times you'll see the sweatier people, they've already got their Series X's. They're the ones that camped out in a tent outside Best Buy 18 hours waiting for that release date. Already had the funds set aside and everything. But I haven't had too much of an issue being on the old gen right now. However, when I'm running with people that do have the Series X, if I play a team and I play somebody like my boy Watro that I was running with earlier, or Cluo, and they're above the 2 KD. They're amazing players. You can tell that sometimes they're just a couple screens ahead of you on what you're seeing on your screen, and then you don't even have a chance to react to it because they're so precise with their movements. And that's really the only issues that I've had is when you get the 3K ELO players with the Series X and you're on an old gen, you don't have reaction time to be able to work with on it. You have to anticipate the move before the move happens.
Absolutely, your forgiveness window slims down a lot. Papa, you're on the new console. I'm loving it. I'm sure you're loving it. But how do you feel about Bungie's approach in terms of matchmaking only with, and then people in your party kind of only asking old gen only?
Yeah, it's definitely a double-edged sword because, you know, I agree with y'all's points about it really being unfair. You know, they've got a couple of frames advantage based on the new technology. But at the same time, we were just talking about how there's so few people in the player base already. And now you're going to divvy that up some more based on the consoles. I just don't know if it's the right play because I mean, I ran where I was the worst person on the team for 4 hours to get a flawless the other night when we were all on, you know, the Series X. And it's because all of these teams, you know, they're just ridiculous. And so I don't know if you take and separate these people, you know, there are people that wanted the PvE part in the 4K and they camped out for these too, and maybe their whole team is got a Series X and they go in and just get clobbered because there's no chance of them getting matched with somebody appropriate skill level. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I definitely can see both sides of it, and I don't think there's a right or a wrong. I think there's going to be issues either way you go with that.
It's just one of those things, and you said it in the very beginning. You called it a double-edged sword, and I think that's a perfect analogy, exactly what it is. over time, they're going to want to phase everyone into the current gen and what we're dealing with, because they have aspirations for cross-gen play, and that's a whole nother conversation, because if we got console players up there playing with the PC individuals and there's still no concrete anti-cheat, then we're going through a whole nother animal in terms of hoping that they have a toggle to play with console only and forget about just playing with only people on the current gen. So let's dive right into it, fellas. We got Exodus Blue. Personally, where I'm coming from on this map, it's a little rough. I'm a sniper by heart, but I've learned that Fellwinter is God in some instances in the close-up game, and that thing has the ability to just shine and stand out. And until it goes through its whole sunsetting progress, it's going to still stick at the forefront. So a lot of close quarter combats. Pop, how are you feeling about this map? Are you a fan of it? And before we get into breakdown, is it something that you kind of circle and can't wait to hope for?
I'm definitely not a fan of Exodus Blue. I wasn't a fan of it last time, although it seems like it was for different reasons now, thinking back on it, what was happening that weekend. But I don't know. I think that's already like subconsciously just got me a little, I don't like the map, and that's not even anything about the map. It's just association of what was going on at that time in Destiny community. But I mean, the map is just so linear that there's good sniper lanes, but it just always feels like I'm not near my team.
Yeah.
It feels so hard to do any kind of team coordination, because you have to go down 50 feet to exit out of something to get back in the same lane that they're in.
Agreed.
So
teamwork, call-outs are a big part of this map. Go on, sorry.
It just feels a lot more like a win your ones type of map, which again just makes it even harder when you're trying to do carries and you just need that person to kind of be with you and help you wrap up kills and stuff.
Yeah, it's a whole nother mentality when you know that you kind of gotta pick up the slack for someone, especially if you're playing a team with a very high ELO or what have you. How are you? We kind of got how you're feeling about the map suite, calling it Exodus Poo, and I kind of agree with you. It's pretty rough, but you do. So tell me, like, is it? But before we get into the actual breakdown, like, what is it about it that you like?
The angles on this map. If you're not in that main sniper lane in between the warehouse and the B building, there's some little fine angles you can snipe at, but for the most part, you got fusions, you got shotties. When you got fusions and shotties, if you can read a shotgun movement or a shotgun team's movement, you can bait that guy around. You got him with the fusion. You just backpedal on up, piece on out, wait for him to come sprinting up. Now you got dust fields. You can pull him over to where you need to kill him, slow him. I mean, do your thing. Mm-hmm. And this map is good for that type of play, and it's actually one of my better maps because of the Bastion range. It's just about perfect on most of the angles you can peek and where you can kill somebody with, and that's what I like about it.
Well, then let's not waste any time. Let's just go ahead and jump right in. Pop, I sent you another invite. I think just because your controller was probably off. We'll get you right back in here. By the way, both their names on Twitch are exactly how you see them right here. Spaces minus, of course. But they'll be streaming as soon as we're done here. They're going right back to it. They're going right back to their raffles. They're going right back to their grind. So if it's something that you're interested, hey, man, it's how I met them. I jumped in. I saw it was freaking sweet. I'm like, wow, this name's pretty funny. So I checked him out. I loved his attitude. He was with his brother. Ironically, I played against Papa a few times, so I recognized him. And real knows real. I didn't need to look up his stats to know that where he was sitting KD wise, and it's high. It is sitting high. But it's nice to get in there with your buddies. If you don't have any, sometimes getting in a raffle, it's not that bad. You pick up great things and you have a good time either way. And you know what? More likely than not, they're taking you all the way to the top.
Sorry, I'm loading.
Oh, no worries. No
old
worries.
Xbox pace for some reason.
It's no worries. It's all part of the show right now. So let's talk about, is there anything that you're using right now, Sweet, that's kind of showing you a little bit of an advantage weapon-wise?
Bashing, absolutely. And Summoner. I've been loving actually being able to use the Summoner. This isn't one of those super long distance lanes maps where you feel like you need a pulse or a scout. And I like the versatility of the auto. This is a great sidearm map. I mean, I'm sure you're loving it with the Rat King, because about the same range that the Bastion has is about where you get with a sidearm. And if you work those angles, you hit your shots, you're getting the kill on it. And that's kind of what I've been seeing most of, is sidearms, fusions, and shotties. Shotties, if you can outmaneuver your opponent, so you can outthink them. We talk about the flow of battle in my stream a lot. Then if you're reading that, you can play this map well. And it's a good map to play. And a player that might be a lot better than you can work it around and get the advantage on.
Well, before we begin, I want to just give everyone a little bit of heads up on what exactly is leading the way thus far at the halftime of Trials this weekend in terms of weapons. We got Fellwinter leading the top. Steady Hand right behind it, no surprise. Adored, Arbalist, True Prophecy, Seven Seraph, Stern, Hawkmoon, which I think Hawkmoon, because of all the excitement of it coming out, and it's part of the challenge this week, sits at a decent number 8. Crimson, and then Last Word finish off. And for that challenge, it's precision headshots with that Hawkmoon. Just to let everyone know if you're just curious and wanted to be aware of exactly what's going on. As well, the rewards this week. Let me pull that for you guys. We got the Scholar at 3, Helmet at 5, Arms at 7, and then we told you earlier the Adept Exile's Curse Fusion Rifle for Flawless, and the Adept Stability as well for the mod. I'm going to just go in and just give you guys a little bit of just what I do real fast. As a sniper, if I do have it out on this map, I'm looking right here, right in the beginning. Right off the beginning rip of that spawn, I'm checking right here. Some individuals like to jump up behind this train, something I'm looking at. Some individuals all in the back. It all just depends what you're looking at. Either way, you know you have a good shot. Some people like to stand up right up here. Some people like to put up a nasty, nasty little head glitch right here where I'm standing. It's almost impossible to see the very tip of your skull from right at that spot. Pop, I'm going to let you take the lead real quick. Give me a rundown from this spawn side, exactly what you're looking at and what you're taking into each round.
Okay, so usually on this side, I'm coming right up in here. I usually get behind this box, and I'm looking right in this area. Oh, and I'm normally using an Arbalist since the Revoker got sunset. I like the short scopes. I don't like the really zoomed in scopes. But I'm looking across here. That's a good range for the Arbalist. If I don't see anything there, I'm looking up top here, up on the trains,
Gotcha.
Maybe seeing if people are jumping up there. And beyond that, the only other spot I really kind of look at is see if I can get a head peek through this train up here. and then I'm just backing up my teammates if nobody's in any of those spots.
Just for reference, chat, what he's talking about by that little train is exactly where you see my crosshairs right here. There's a nasty little peak you can get through, because some people are always curious whether or not the bullets, because sometimes there's an invisible wall the bullets won't be able to get through. You're getting through that, and it's a nasty little headshot. Sweet. While we're still over here on this side, why don't you show me exactly what you're looking at when you're spawning over here round and round?
So either side, I call this area the shoe up under this, because it kind of reminded me of solitary confinement.
Gotcha.
And that's just what I started calling it. Is stuck. But this area right here, if I'm at this angle, they're over here. I encourage my guys, use your sword peaks. Why are you going to poke somebody that can instantly take your head off? Everybody is doing it. Play on an even playing field, guys.
Yeah.
Don't get discouraged. Don't leave the player pool.
Yes.
We need everybody in it.
It's real quick, just on 3-peaking. It's part of the game until they remove it. You're not cheating. You're not doing anything. It's free information. Obviously, people will make you feel a type of way for doing it, whether you're emoting or whether you have a sword. Now that the sword Quick Fang has been sunset and you don't get that extra mobility, personally, I'll run a rocket launcher, and I'll just emote if I ever need to get a little bit of free information. But utilize it. Utilize it when you can, but do not put yourself in a bad situation, because some players will jump right at the nip if they hear a sword come out.
And they will. Now, doing this is dangerous. You do get free information, but now, like we said, this nade right here, boom. You're up around that corner right there. You're down the ramp where you didn't want to be. There's actually a nasty little trick I'll show you guys. If somebody's like up here camping, and a lot of times they are, if you are good enough.
Here, I'll get up there. So they have the enemy's perception.
The nade right here, if you hit the nade right there, you'll throw them into the wall. They'll drop down right into your range.
So they'll fall right here because of the gravity of the dust field, is what you're saying.
And it's the same thing for this spot right here. If you have, this is where you see a lot of people playing. They're in little spots like this. You hit the wall right beside them, bam, on the wall, dropping down. If they're not quick enough to move out of it and ready for it, that's it. And I like this area as a fusion player for all you guys that are fusions, and it's good for shotguns. If you're shotgunning, obviously you're not going to.
A lot of your close quarter combat engagements are going to be held up right in this little room, whether you got fusions or shotties. Yep.
And this distance right here, this is perfect bastion distance for me. And if it's bastion distance, you better believe any other fusion can hit that shot.
For sure.
Bastion does not have more range than other fusions. It's got more power, not more range. But you can hit a good solid 25 on other fusions. Right here, this is deletion city all day long if they come around. I like to watch right here. If they give this area up, I feel like this is a good zone because you're right next to the cap point here. If you've got really good teams that can handle their own battles and staying alive and getting away, they can flank here. So you do have to be careful. You have to play with your team. But if somebody's right here on this corner, this angle right here, that's perfect distance. Same on the other side. If you're normally right here, I'll drop a barricade as a Titan. But this is good distance right here. Most of the time you'll see snipers. They'll play right here. You addressed it, and Scott addressed it there. This lane, there's some nasty little peaks right here.
While we're over here, this is a lane that I'll sometimes peek myself. That's a lane, and I'll be honest with you. Something that I do pretty much every round. I'll jump on this box from this spawn, and I'll watch tunnel. And if I see someone go, or if they're just beelining it, it's an easy pop. It's just one of my easy call outs. It's something I do until someone pulls off. My bad, Sweet. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just while we're in the area, I figured I'd throw it out there.
Right. Now the reason I like to hold this area is because this area where cap point is a bad area to hold. You've got.
And chat, everybody, just to let you know, cap is right here. If you had to make it this far, if you're just getting in this weekend, cap's right about here.
this was bad before Stasis to be in this building because of all the different little peaks and angles and stuff that you can get shot from. People can be hiding behind this tree back here. That's deadly. That nasty head glitch you were talking about is happening. Over here, nasty little head glitch on that hill is happening. And if you're back in here, they know you back in here. Watch that stasis nade. It's a coming, and you're about to get yanked out from where you are, and then you can get blindsided. And so
we're seeing more dust fields this weekend because of the fact of what has changed with the TWAB and the nerf that has gone into 3.0.02. I feel with that, it has kind of changed up everyone's attack game with the dust fields. Papa, I want to ask you, since you've kind of adapted to stasis thus far for this weekend, you were still using light a little bit, but then you kind of realize this is what I got to do. I need to embrace this darkness a little bit. I got to understand it. I got to know how to use it, especially as a Titan main as yourself. What are some kind of rules of thumb that you're keeping in the back of your head in this map or any map for that matter in terms of not putting your team in a bad situation?
Well, you can't really stay real close to your teammates anymore because that's an automatic double kill with the shatter dive, the Titan stuff, and whatnot. You got to be really careful with corners because not only can they do the I'm not good with a lot of the names yet, the dust field or whatever that pulls you out.
Mm-hmm.
But they can also just hit the one on the ground that freezes you and then shoot it, and you're also dead.
Yeah. The cold snap,
And so another thing that you can do to really avoid some trouble is to, for you and your team to kind of keep track of when people are throwing stuff. And, if two things come at you at the same time, then you've probably got a good 30, 45 seconds if you want to make a move where the most you have to worry about is one more grenade. Just stuff like that. It's little things that a lot of people don't notice, but they can make a big difference, if you're paying attention.
100%. And as adapting to stasis myself and still even utilizing the shatter dive and the wall smash, I have kind of kept a rule of thumb to myself. I have to be more precise with it. I can't just throw it out because if I throw out my nade, I don't even smash it and I'm just dead. My cooldown is only at 28. So I'm waiting almost a whole nother round before I get something back unless I break some ice. I kind of, along with being precise, I kind of have to keep a rule of thumb as well to only throw my nades in a confined space in an area where a Guardian can't just stomp you out, or even a Titan who will melee out in some instances, even if I hit him with the Backrus slow. Sweet, what are your rules of thumb that you're keeping in the back of your head while you're playing on this map or any map for that matter?
Teammate distance, huge. With the level of sweat that we're playing with most teams, like we got two people down in here. Like you said, you can't be right on top of your teammates, but normally, like you have somebody, we'll say around here, maybe you might have your sniper, and I do still like to have a sniper or a long distance person. He might be looking this way, he might be watching over here, he might be over in the lane. But he's going to make sure he doesn't get picked if he's by himself. And then, like you're playing off your close range guys, if you got two people in here, somebody's got to be up further. And then somebody's got to have that cover back here behind a different cover where they can't yank you both at the same time, or they can't freeze you both at the same time. That way you can help free your teammate if they get frozen. And I do try to keep in mind that with, like you said, the glacier grenade, I've been frozen here more times than I care to admit, right on this wall right here as I'm coming around, just because they're pre-throwing grenades, and it's just a smart play. They're freezing me up against this wall. This is a good thing to do. If you're behind cover, is the exact same thing rule of thumb wise. You want to keep in mind the nades. I don't really count nade time. You know you've got a few seconds, but I mean, most people are going to be running somewhere around at least a 6, and then a lot of times they'll go down lower than that. So I get a minute and 20. If I shatter crystals from my fragment, that's reducing time for up to 10 seconds. If I shatter another, it refreshes the timer, even if I'm at 1 all the way to 10. So you can space out when you blow your nade up if you do whiff a nade, and you'll have it back faster. I've been doing that. And then you have class item stuff. I just was made wise to it this week. Lyrical and Nars, they let me know about distribution.
Big shout out to those two individuals. They're part of our Xbox friends list. They're running as well. They're always helping people out. Lyrical, Master J, and Nars, big shout out to them.
This right here, distribution, if you're using your class ability near enemies, and Warlocks is especially broken, even though they don't have the broken Stasis abilities as badly. But if you've got that rift down, the entire time somebody's on the other side of the wall, which that's how this map is playing. Let's be honest, guys. People might be right here inside. You're waiting your time right here. You pop your rift, you're sitting there, you've got all your abilities back by the time that rift is up. And that just reduced your cooldown from a minute 20 to 25 easy. And you might have even less than that depending on what else is going on around. And that is kind of the game plan you have to think through. You have to manage your abilities against their abilities, and then what are they about to throw at you? Where do you need to be standing wise so that you're able to get away from that? Or how do you need to move to get them to throw that ability, and then you follow up after they throw after them? And I know we're talking a bunch of abilities, but if you get the abilities out of the way, then you might have a gunfight right in that area. And while you were talking about how you got to be careful and precise with your grenade, there's 2 ways you can play it. You can play your ability for a pick and then use your guns, or you can play your guns for a pick and then use your abilities. Yeah. And I see 2 types of players, and then really good players, they can alternate between those very easily. And that is kind of the rules of thumb to follow while you're playing this map. And you don't want to be further than, I say now, it's about like closer than 12 meters, further than 30 meters from your teammates, because you want to be able to get that team shot. It's so important.
Absolutely. And I can't hearken that point enough about team shooting, communication, call outs. This map especially, Papa put it perfectly. Even though it has condensed this map is, he and many other people feel like they can't traverse it fast enough to kind of help their teammates out in a particular fight, or if they traded and they need to close down on an orb to help a teammate, whatever it may be. Before we close out of this segment and move on to the final segment, Papa, what final thoughts of this map and even your Trials gameplay, your PvP gameplay can you help with everybody? I can't hearken this enough to my viewers and people watching after the fact. This individual is very good. Both these guys are very good. Papa, he's been doing it for a little bit before Sweet jumped on, and he's been hitting it all full cylinders. What can you tell my viewers, Pop?
I would just say, focus on playing as a team. Think about the ways that you can get people into situations where 2 or 3 of y'all can be shooting them at the same time. That's what good players do. They never even give you a chance to have a one-on-one. And it's really frustrating to play those type of people, but that's why they're so good. When they're to that level, they can sucker you into a position and you're done before you even know that somebody's there. So focus in on those situations. Really focus on how you're using your abilities, and don't forget about them. Don't neglect them, and don't just hoard them away, but also be smart with how you use them. be strategic, placing walls to get reses, or placing a wall. I saw a person throw a grenade across earlier and blocked us out right as Heavy was about to come up, and then we had to shoot down the wall. By the time we shot down the wall, they had already got Heavy and jumped out. Things like that are more strategy and just pre-planning than they are just hitting buttons on the controller, and those type of things can make a huge difference in a 5-4 close call game.
Sweet. Same question. What can you tell your viewers? What can you tell the viewers here about how they could be more successful? I've always preached teamwork. I'm pretty sure you're a big proponent of teamwork as well. What are big things that you could tell everybody that are watching here tonight, or even watching the stream later on at some point? How can they be more successful as an individual to help their teammate win matches within Trials?
It's always about the teamwork, and sometimes you might be getting just absolutely pooed on, and that if that's the case, I mean, some games that happens. You might get pooed on, and then the next game your teammate's getting pooed on and you're popping off. Play on that game. Don't let the game get out of hand before you recognize what you need to adjust to fix it. If somebody is getting picked, somebody's taking that poo game, for lack of a better way to put it, stay back. If I'm getting pooped on right here, if I get deleted by a Fellwinters 3 times, two is the 2-pick rule. That's what we use in my stream. I'm sitting here. I'm not moving until my teammates are already fighting, or until they get a pick, and then I'm moving up towards them. And now, even if you get a pick, if you can have a somewhat safe orb where they have to kind of make a risky play to try to get it, you might sit back. Even if you got 2 down, you're sitting back. You're playing in the smart places with each other. Like we said, don't be getting picked. If you get a pick and you get picked, you just cost your team a potential round. That round could cost the game. That game might have been your flawless, and you never know. You have to recognize when you need to back off, when you need to wait and be support, and then when you need to take the lead. If your teammates are getting pooped on, you're not. You need to be looking for that pick. If you're not getting at one angle, run around, get a different angle, see what's going on over here. Don't stay still too much. Don't be predictable. That is huge. A great player will read what you're doing after you're doing it a few times, and then they got you on lockdown. They know exactly what they need to do to get you off your game right there, and be that front runner for your team when you need to be, and don't be e-peening, being up front, costing your team rounds otherwise.
You heard it from 2 individuals that, go ahead, Pop.
If I can put in one more thought,
please.
Somebody that really helped me get to where I am in Destiny 2, he coached me one Saturday morning for about 4 hours, and just listening to him over that 1 week, I'd already played 100-something Trials games that week, and just listening to him, what he told me those 4 hours, he watched my stream, critiqued me and stuff. I raised my KD that week by 0.5.
That's awesome.
From like a 1.3 to a 1.8. And the thing that he said that was so revolutionary and so simple is it's all about the first pick. And it's something that I never thought about, but if you watch the good teams, when they get a pick, they win the rounds. A lot of the times, they're going to win those rounds unless you pull something crazy. Because once that person's down, you're focused on getting them back up, and everybody can push in, and they know exactly where you're going to be because you're trying to get that person up. It's huge. If you, like Sweet saying, if you find yourself getting picked, constantly at the beginning of rounds, maybe that's not your strong suit to get the first pick. Let your teammate get the first pick, follow up behind them, and be there to support and team fire, and you might get that second and third kill, but you're going to have a way better shot of winning those rounds because you've let the person that's best at doing that do what they do.
I'm glad you said that, because a lot of times where I'm most frustrated is when we lose rounds where it's no fault of anybody's, but just it's frustrating to lose a round, especially when you get that opening pick, especially when I get an opening snipe on a round, to not capitalize on that. It's like pouring salt in the wound, and it's not a great feeling. And what you and your brother are saying about being able to recognize as a player that if you're putting your fire team in a bad situation because you're running this way over and over again for 2 straight rounds, maybe you should just change it up. And not only it catches everyone else off guard, but it gives your teammates that much more time to help you in any certain engagement. Pop, why don't you jump in? Why don't you jump in here to this emote, and then we'll bounce it off to the last segment. Nice little teamwork moat right there, and we're out of there. So,
I like that.
We're on our final segment, and typically the final segment, what I'll try to do is I will broadcast someone's play of the week. Fortunately, I didn't get anybody this week. It's okay. It was a little weird week, and it's no problem. I've got some shy people out there. But if you're part of the SNTR network at any sort of subscription, please send your best 30-second clip to the email I just put in the chat. If you're watching after the fact, it is halftime, POTW, at SNTRnetwork.com. 30-second clip. I'll broadcast it for you right here. This one, actually, the one I'm showcasing right now, happened earlier today. If you fellas are got the stream up, you guys can see exactly what happened. If you can read the names, the individuals are really good players. That was actually one of my best games today. Those players sit at the top 50, just like these individuals sitting with me. These are top Xbox players that are playing it. Unfortunately, I feel like I'm playing the top players every other game because there's not that many people in the playlist. Personally, I think things might change a little bit when we get into Season 13. We got new Adept guns going into the pool. We got Adept armor going in. Sweet. What are your expectations going into the future, Season 13 in more particular? Are you holding an expectation a little bit higher for Bungie to deliver this point because of they're putting all their chips into Season 13 and going on? How do you feel?
Man, we need to see some rotating map weeks. That reminded me this week when they changed the map on us. We used to have a rotating map, like, I feel like it's about once a month. Like, every 4th weekend or so, we would have a weekend where the maps would just rotate. And, man, I love that. It adds a freshness to the playlist. I feel like we do need to see that. And then the other thing is, I want to see not a specific... I know that they had some issues with the Adept weapon in the chest. But if you've unlocked it on subsequent flawlesses with that character, for guys that are sweating blood and tears with these guys in our streams, we love running the help and we love being able to help them. But sometimes it's rough playing against those teams. I want to be able to see a potential for any of the Adept weapons perhaps unlocked so far to drop from the flawless chest. I think that would be a good feature, or even cash in, say, 100 tokens to get one of, we'll say like 3 or 4 from a loot pool, kind of like they did on the raid. I think they're moving in the right direction.
I love where you're going with that. It's something I've been a big proponent about, maybe adapting some sort of deep stone crypt chest to how we have the current one. Maybe if it's an armor week, or maybe if you've collected everything from that flawless chest, you can utilize X amount of tokens or whatever material they can give us to allow us to choose the Adept. We're already waiting on RNG, hoping for a good roll. Now we're waiting on unprecedented RNG because this was never intended. This was not intended. Just like you said, we were supposed to, even if you just run one character, you're supposed to get a flawless, or excuse me, you're supposed to get an adept weapon, the one being offered that week, every single time. And that's RNG on top of RNG.
And it's already hard enough. I mean, I'm not the best player to begin with. I'm just a decent player that likes to try to help people out and try to help encourage people. And it is hard work sometimes to get a flawless run, even running with great teams, because of how many other just great teams are out in the playlist. If it's going to be this hard, which I don't necessarily think that it shouldn't be this hard, then it needs to be more rewarding than it is, where you don't just get screwed over on something. Now, I don't want the system to the other extreme like they had in D1, where you could literally change a perk on a gun to get what you wanted. At that point, you didn't just get really lucky, and now you get to play with your luck that you got for however long that weapon is in light.
Yeah.
But they do need to have it more so where you can kind of make that flawless experience rewarding. And some of these guys, like, they have to wait, win raffles, hop in and get carries, or we call them test drives. Have somebody test drive their account right onto the lighthouse for them, and just have to hope and pray that one that they get, and some people pay for it. I've been getting so many requests, and I haven't traditionally done any paid stuff in my stream, that if they could just pay me to try to get the stuff. And I mean, honestly, if you're breaking down like how many hours that might take, you might be making like $2 an hour for your time trying to help these guys out. And that they have to pay upwards of $30-$40 to get one shot at something that they really want. And I do think that's a bit ridiculous on the RNG factor. But this is Pinnacle PvP. We are where we're at, and we just got to keep trying to build and grow the community. Don't be toxic, guys. I don't mean don't use certain weapons. All weapons are fair game, but don't just sit there and like spam that B button, bagging on some people that are a lot worse than you are. Like, don't discourage people. Yeah. We need those players in the playlist.
It's nice to get a GG once in a while. You had a good game with someone, you go 5-4, maybe throw a GG. It's something I've tried to do, win or lose now. If I'm going in a tight map, I've gone toe-to-toe with one other Guardian, I'll throw a GG. I'll just be very civil. And honestly, it kind of gives you a repertoire of people remember, be like, yeah, I played against that guy. He was actually pretty nice.
And you know, what we've beaten some great teams or come close to, and I know we made a bunch of them mad because they've come back and said whatever we were doing in stream at the time. They got upset. They popped in stream. They were ready to trash talk. Man, I believe the Bible. You better believe I do. If your enemy is hungry, give them bread to eat. If they're thirsty, give them water. For in so doing, you will heap coals of fire on their head, and the Lord will reward you. And you drop that GG. Hey, man, that was a great game. Even if they won, and good luck on your cards.
Yeah.
And then almost all of my better guys that have hopped in now and helped me do carries have grown into the stream community that we've got here from my side, just from being kind.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing. Let's as a community try to make a movement and a trend of helping other Guardians out, helping these lower players, encouraging them.
Yeah.
I'd say we'll help coach you. We'll try to give you the things that you need to keep in mind, and then it's up to them to go practice, up to them to go put that work in with their group. Like me and Papa Punny did 9 weeks, guys. We were in such the throes of despair that we were praying to God, literally, and started reading Psalms in between our games. And that's the Lord. First week that we were flawless with our group in D1. I mean, but we were feeling it, and it's real. And I don't want you guys to give up. I want you to be encouraged. Find that group, build that synergy, find the matchmaking. That's a huge thing. Every group of 3 Guardians has unique matchmaking, and that's a big deal. I try to get people, try some games with some different guys. You don't need to be a savage. You just need to have good teamwork.
You know, individuals like yourself is a big reason why I started the show, because getting your guys' insight to people that kind of think PvP in the Crucible is very rough around the edges, it kind of mellows it out, because there are people that are willing to help. There's people that are willing to teach, and in this element, not just in raids, but in the Crucible, and you guys offer that. And it's commendable for the both of you to pay it forward in the way you do. Just help out people, no matter what their KD is, how many times they've been flawless. You guys get excited. I was watching Papa's stream before we went live today. He took someone virgin today. That was their very first time getting flawless. Those are exciting, and the manner that they took it, he was pumped. He was saying it with his chest. He was shouting because of that, dude. He said, first time flawless for this cat. He was ready. Papa, this game, it brings a lot of us together. It makes us, find that camaraderie, find that friendship in people that we probably had no idea that even had the same interests of. We know that Season 13, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, hopefully. New Adept guns, new Adept Trials armor that's not a reissue of something that we've seen before. Are your expectations high for Season 13? And do you think Season 13's hopes can bring more life and open up the funnel of this playlist?
It's hard to say, because I know from a community perspective, the overwhelming majority of people are going to look at it and say, they've always hyped us up. They've always let us down. Why is this one going to be any different? And I try to be cautiously optimistic. I don't want to get my hopes up too much and just get into this new expansion and it just be a total letdown, because my expectations were up here. And then, the game's no fun from day one because I just had way unrealistic expectations. But if they can just make steps in the right direction as we continue this journey, as they're going to keep D2 for a really long time, as long as we're moving in the right direction, I feel like that should be enough for us to keep being cautiously optimistic that they're going to keep making improvements to the game.
100%. And those improvements help create opportunities for people like us to meet, run an LFG, run a raffle, meet up, meet even people on your friends list. There's a countless. I named 2 of them, Lyrical and Nars, and your buddy Memer Sosa, who's actually in chat right now. These are people that I have met through you 2 individuals, and these are the bright spots in the game that don't really get highlighted enough, because we're looking at the big issues and what everyone's hating, and typically that hate, everyone's standing shoulder to shoulder. There's not really too many divisive things in this game that have split the community. You could argue Stasis is at that point, but what we're talking, the conversation we're having, the ability to give back in the community with tips, even with carries, with what you guys do, it was basically the biggest premise of why I wanted to start this show. I can't thank you guys enough for being on it. Like I said, this segment that you're seeing going on right now, it's Play of the Week. It's meant for people within this community, people within the SNTR community, to send me their best clips, and I will showcase it for you. I'll have it on the back while we talk about our final segment, and you just get a little bit of notice. That's really what I want to do, give people notice, whether it's coming on this show, helping their stream, just getting to talk Crucible, that even if they aren't playing Trials all the time, they went in for their first time, but they wanted to get on here and talk about it. That's all what I'm about. Again, I can't thank you guys enough. Sweet, give me a closeout. Give me something that you want to tell everybody. Give a shout out. close me out for yourself.
Hey man, I try not to make it too religious, but I love Jesus. I really do. He has saved my life. You wouldn't believe the pits I have been in, and this man on screen, I mean, he's been my best friend through a lot of my valleys that I've had, that God's brought me up out of, and because of that transformation he gave in my life, that's the reason that I really wanted to start trying to do the help that we try to do in stream, and to the best of my ability, I will do my darndest to help you out in any way I can, just to love on you, because that's what Jesus would do. He loved on people, and that's what we want to focus on, is loving on the community and making this community a better place, because we need it right now. It's dim, it's dark right now, it feels despairing, but worry not, like, we're gonna get there. We just got to keep one person you can be contributing to the positive trend change or the negative, and your words in trials, that's the biggest thing I see. Words back and forth, you might ruin somebody's day. You never know when you're gonna have somebody that's gonna go do school shooting type stuff just because they got I hate to say that, but like they got that bullying, they got that e-pain trash talk. Not that that's right, they shouldn't, but words.
I think we could all just be better to each other overall. Absolutely. Like, I think that's a big part of it, and I didn't mean to cut you off. I just feel like that's a perfect way that we can echo what we want from this show in particular, and exactly what you're talking about. We're here to help people. We're here to have a conversation. It's okay to disagree. It's okay to have a different opinion than someone else. It's something that we all want to talk about. It's part of why we get ready Friday at Reset to jump right into Trials. For a lot of people, including myself, it's biggest reason why I still play this game. It's still biggest reason why I'm still stay invested, because of the people I get to play with over the weekends, and the times I have, the plays I get to make with those teammates. It's what I truly cherish. Papa, again, I can't thank you enough for taking the time. You're grinding it out every single day that you can when you have the time on the weekends. What can you tell your viewers and my viewers and Sweet's viewers that are here today? Your best words of wisdom. What are you looking forward to, and exactly what can you give as a send off to everybody?
I'm really just looking forward to hanging out with everybody every week. It was really sad to be gone. I had stuff that I needed to do, but I missed it. Like, I missed just being in the stream, hanging out with the people that had come in there, and just talking to everybody. I've had numerous people come in to my stream. I actually just had one earlier say this to me, but numerous people that just made comments or whispered me or whatever, and just said, I was going through a really depressed time in my life, or a rough time in my life, and I clicked on your stream, and I'm so glad that I did, because you've just really helped me get through it. And like, that means more to me than each and every one of my however many flawless that I have.
Yeah.
If I helped somebody, I did a world of good just doing that. And you can do the same thing just by showing grace and kindness to people. And maybe that's how they receive love, is like words of affirmation, one of their love languages. Maybe that GG like makes that person feel loved in a way that they don't get very often.
Agreed.
You never know how you're gonna influence somebody, and just always keep that in mind when you're over there wanting to bag them because they're using a bastion or something. They're just using a weapon that was put in the game by Bungie, and they're just like you. They have feelings too. So
yeah, you're always gonna have toxicity, and it's always good to be the bigger man and walk away from that toxicity, especially now when people are walking away from this game, and tensions are probably the highest they've really ever been in regards to trials, especially when we have such a low count in the population. People are going to be playing sweaty people, recov people, carry people. It's just a nature of the game. And to have individuals as somber and nice as your guys, and on the Twitch platform, which to be honest isn't really the best, but you guys bring a positive feel to it where anyone could just jump in, throw a follow, and be a part of the conversation, and actually be a part of the game that you're playing as well. And it like I said, it's commendable to you both. And I can't thank you enough for being here tonight. Both of you, sweet, absolutely sweet. Yeah. Thank you for jumping in last second, Papa. I'm excited to have you back to Destiny. I'm excited that you're going to have a little bit of extra free time to play. And I'm excited that you were able to come on the show, because I remember talking to you about it weeks before you had left for work, and I'm glad it finally came to fruition with you today.
Yeah, I don't know if you have time for this or not. I saw several comments in the chat, like,
go ahead,
wanting to see a Trials match with us. I don't know if you. Do you think we have time to play one on stream, or if you wanna?
We can make the time over on your stream. We'll go ahead and transition, because I have to set up everything. I got the capture card. I got to play at 120 frames, brother. I'm sure people that, if you don't have an Xbox Series X yet, get your hands on one. 120 frames. Big shout out to All Wheezy. He's a big part of the big reason why I was able to get one for Christmas. Do you guys have any shout outs, any friends that you'd like to just throw out? I basically called out all your friends list, but real quick before we close out for the evening, do you guys have anybody that you want to shout out?
Hey, you, man. You're always such a great attitude, bro. For real. It's definitely uplifting.
Appreciate that. I appreciate that. I tend to put myself around the same type of feelings, of the same type of people that have the same feelings, and it's always worked for me. It's a positive, and I try to reverberate that optimism on pretty much everything I try to talk about, because no one wants to see people negative all the time. You got to be negative when you got to be negative, but it's always nice to be positive. It always takes a little less muscles to throw on a smile. But again, thank you guys for being here. Go ahead.
I want to shout out two people, and I'll shout out somebody for Chris too, which I know he would shout him out too. But Puzzle Trump, this man, he does not do it for the money. He does not do it for the recognition. He probably doesn't even want me to do this, but he has been a huge part of Chris and I both getting to where we were at, and being able to buy the stuff to stream with better quality, and have a face cam and all of that stuff. And he just does it because we are helping other people, and he wanted to help somebody that was helping somebody, and that's the only reason he's done it. And I'm just so grateful that God sent him along when he did early in our streaming, to just kind of get us off on the right foot and everything. And then the other thing is our wives, both of our wives, mine being Kylie and his is Lauren. They've been tremendous in just supporting us, bringing us food when we're doing these super long streams. Just anything and everything you can think of, just to help us out and be supportive of us in this thing that's really been a dream for a long time, getting to actually do it. So
can't do it without
it's
them.
heartwarming, especially coming from my perspective. I'm about to have my first child. My fiance, she's going in throughout dealing with it, and we're getting close to the final hour here in terms of me actually having my first child. So I could get behind you guys in terms of showing appreciation for your significant others, because they are a big part of the reason why we're still able to do these things and have the amount of fun that we're having. Again, thank you guys for being here, and thank you all for watching. A big person I need to shout out, because it would not be possible. This show would not be possible without him. Lono in the SNTR network, SNTR Presents. Please watch him Monday through Friday. Go check him out if you love Destiny, if you love a good time. We have all kinds of different programs on the SNTR network, on sntrnetwork.com. It's a big hub for all kinds of shows, Destiny related, movies, Marvel, Disney Plus, Star Wars. It has all that in connection. But a big thank you and shout out for him, because without him, this would not be possible tonight. Again, fellas, thanks again. You can see them both on Twitch. They stream all weekend, literally all weekend, sometimes in the wee hours of the night and in the morning, depending on where you are. You can catch them, even get lucky to get in a raffle. And I'm telling you, when they try to get you to the top, they're putting their blood, sweat, and tears to get you to the top. There's no hitting the brakes with them. They are full gas no matter what time it is at night. So, gentlemen, again, thank you. And I can't thank everyone else for being a part of this. So give your goodbyes, fellas, and we'll close it out.
Don't forget, streaming about 15 minutes. We'll play a game for everybody that wanted to watch.
Sweet.
I love you guys, and I really appreciate having this opportunity, and thank y'all for making it possible. Everybody in stream watching this broadcast and in each of our streams, and all of our supporters and patrons.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
What I never would have believed that God may have had this in the cards for me, even I'd say 6 months ago, just about.
I'm right there with you. Like I said, the person I just shout out, it gave me a very big opportunity, and I just want to give it the best shot I can get. And it's not the stars I'm shooting for. It's just a good time I'm trying to shoot for, and it's been a great time with you fellas. And again, thank you for being here. Thank you everyone for being here. And as always, Guardians, stay flawless.